Good evening and good afternoon, good morning to you all. Thank you once again for joining us this evening. We want to thank you for your continued attendance and participation in our program that we are running, where we are passionate to share about entrepreneurship. I'd like to welcome our speaker today, who's Dr. Elliot Mugamu. Hopefully he can switch on his camera, who's joining us today. A business executive, former chairman of one of the biggest banks in the country, an academic himself, and one of our faculty members in the MBA E4Impact MBA programs. I'll give a more detailed introduction of him later on, but we thank Dr. Mugamu for joining us. And we thank you all for joining us. Once again, we are here trying to find out how to best present a model that can ensure that you get investment from investors, strategic partners that can help you scale your business. So we want to thank you. So before I carry on, I would like to introduce E4Impact Foundation, who are hosting these boot camps, and share with you what our passion is, what we think we can contribute to your business growing through our programs and our workshops which we hold. I'll just share the screen there. Right, so definitely we are passionate about innovation, and we are passionate about innovative impact entrepreneurs. We're passionate about entrepreneurs that want to be efficient in what they do. We're passionate about entrepreneurs who want to allow accessibility to better services and products throughout. We're passionate about entrepreneurs that are able to change the communities that they survive in. At E4Impact Foundation, we run programs that promote collaboration with many organizations, mainly through universities across Africa, in 18 countries where we are operating, where we are running MBA in Impact MBA in entrepreneurship, and certificate program in entrepreneurship, and other workshops where we are helping entrepreneurs scale. We are a spin-off of the Catholic University of Milan, and we are dedicated to create a new generation of entrepreneurs. We are in Africa in 18 countries. We are in Middle East, where we've created partnerships and alliances with universities to become thought leaders in entrepreneurship, thought leaders in positions to influence policy, thought leaders in positions to influence research that grows entrepreneurship. We are also interested in developing partnerships with corporates, with organizations that are able to build entrepreneurs of the future and create value chains and supply chains that allow us to grow our initiatives. What are the advantages of joining the E4Impact family? We are passionate to make sure that you are able to access finance to grow your institution or your organization. We're passionate to make sure that you grow networks of net worth that allow you to grow your business with our 85% of alumni that have started new businesses and are growing with the new editions that we are starting soon this year. We are interested in providing a market for you. We have 80% of alumni, and across Africa, we encourage networking and access scaling to other markets across Africa. We are passionate about ensuring that you grow business that contribute to the GDP of your economies. So we are encouraging businesses that come out of our programs that have 81% of turnover increase. So strategic partnerships, where we know what we are a master at, and we collaborate and we make sure that we achieve goals of impact. We have programs that we run, and our MBA has a very flexible schedule, knowing that an entrepreneur has a lot on their hands, a visionary, a leader. So we have flexible schedules where we have modules that are released in our MBA program where you are able to do an assignment, you are able to write an exam with ample time in between to make sure that you actually apply what you learn. So our programs are very practical. we're running 4 boot camps where we build your business model, we build your finance model, we build your go-to-market model, and we have an investors boot camp where you present to live real investors. So actionable tools are very important in our program. So it's a practical program where we want to see growth in your organization or your idea. We work with entrepreneurs that are idea stage. We work with entrepreneurs that are at growth stage. We work with entrepreneurs that have been existing in business for a while. We do this through coaching and mentoring. We are running network growth sessions where we bring in experts and professionals in different areas of building a business. We have mentors, successful entrepreneurs in our speaker sessions throughout our programs that come and speak to you passionately about where they started, how they started, who helped them start, where they are and where they want to go, to inspire and motivate our entrepreneurs that join us. Local links, regional links, international links is something we're very passionate about. Platforms such as B2B platforms where you have access to fairs in Milan. We have a 1 week physical fair, which we've been running, despite the fact that the last 2 years, COVID has not allowed us to do so. But we are able to ensure that you get access to markets in Europe. We are hoping that you are able to gain a dual accreditation in our programs. You are able to get a certification from the local partner university. You are able to get a certification from the Catholic University of Milan in Italy. So we are ensuring jobs are created. We train job creators. We are sensitive and conscious of the gender divide, and we encourage women to join our programs, and we are encouraging youth to join our programs so that we create an empowered generation. We want to promote our next editions at the moment, but since I said we are in 18 African countries, please feel free to go to our social media packages and be able to talk to Megadela in Ethiopia from the St. Mary's University to be able to join their edition, which is starting this month, July 2021, which is already on its way. Contact Megadela now. Rwanda has already kicked off. Eswatini is coming up soon in September. We have Ghana, Andrews, Speak to Andrews in October 2021. We have our mini MBA in Egypt with SLD Education Innovation Hub. We also have South Africa, where Tshwane Business School is going to start soon in July, and please contact them so that you are able to join our programs and you are able to be enriched and to be inspired. So we run these innovation boot camps so that we get to understand what you need and what you want to grow your business. So please feel free to go to our social media pages. And right now, you are able to go to the chat room. If you have any questions, if you want communication on who you should contact in your country, please go to the chat room and you'll be able to, if you type, we'll be able to give you information on who is in your country. So we have been running these boot camps, and we want to continue encouraging people to be able to join our programs and be able to network with people who are passionate about what they want to do. So tonight, is Dr. Mugamu in now? Dr. Mugamu? I can see he's on now. Dr. Mugamu, we've had a series of speakers that include our faculty members. We've had speakers from the industry, corporate environment, we've had speakers from the academic environment sharing with us how to build a sustainable business model, which allows us to go ahead. Dr. Mugamu, you need to connect your speaker, your Yes. Dr. Mugamu. All right, let me just see if we can. So if you can follow us on our Facebook pages and be able to contact us, we should be able to respond to you. Let me just try to our speaker.
Hello?
Hello, we are waiting for you now.
Okay. Okay, just give me a minute.
Okay. So while we wait for our speaker tonight, we are going to read out his profile. And he is an esteemed academic and an entrepreneur in his own right. He's a business strategist with extensive experiences in advising startups and companies on key strategic initiatives and complex issues. He's a veteran independent director in the boardroom with a long history of addressing corporate challenges. He has the integrity and competencies to add value. As part of our adjunct team of the Faculty of Commerce, Technology and Innovation for the MBA program at CAS, Dr. Mugamu teaches entrepreneurship and corporate governance amongst other subjects. So that's our speaker today. Please feel free to start putting your questions in the chat room and ask how to be able to build a strategy, build a model that is able to face any challenges in any environment. So we always encourage entrepreneurs to build businesses that have strong internal environments that can cope with any changes in the environment. So we encourage you to put your questions in the chat room while we wait. Dr. Mugamu is just experiencing a bit of internet challenges. He'll join us in a few minutes. So we encourage you to start putting your questions in the chat room on how you can manage. I mean, with his experience, it's good to ask about how to set up a board and how it will influence building your a strong business model, besides the basic nuggets that you can use to build a model. So if we can have in the chat room as well, we always encourage you to introduce yourselves, introduce what you do, and allow yourself to network and allow yourself to be able to build networks in the chat room. So introduce yourself, state what you do, which country you are in. It will be interesting also to know which country you are in so that we understand what kind of geographical footprint we have achieved today. So we're just waiting for Dr. Mugamu to join us. I know he's having a bit of network challenges, and then he'll join us in a few minutes. I know there's already some questions in the chat room. So like I was encouraging that maybe you could also take note of the country where you are in and be able to put it in the chat room if you need any of the contacts of our area managers and our program leaders who are in those spaces so that we are able to help you out. And we have an accelerator program which we run, where if you are not qualifying for the MBA program and you're not qualifying for the certificate program, please join our acceleration programs in our accelerators in the different countries. So feel free to join us while we wait for our speaker today. Okay, great. So while we're waiting for him, sorry about that. We are just waiting for him to get in. He's having some network challenges. We are going to talk about the Accelerator program, where we encourage our entrepreneurs to another platform for us, for you to implement your project, where we are giving you administrative support to your program. We are giving you expertise, tech pro support. We're exposing you to different experts that allow you to be able to grow your program and be able to link you up with people who are able to show you the best strategic ways to build your idea. So I'll just share a screen while we wait for Dr. Mugamu to join us in the next few minutes, and just share some of the entrepreneurs that we have across Africa who have benefited from this program. And that's Joseph Nkandu from Kenya, who is in coffee business, and he has managed to ensure that Ugandan farmers get a fair deal for their work, and everyone in the community benefits. And he was part of the Kenya class in 2012, and he's worked to build sustainable market-driven system for coffee farmers and organization and households in 19 districts in Uganda. So he's great. I'm grateful for E4Impact to empowering me to develop this agricultural value chain beyond coffee. The skills acquired have strengthened me in influencing policy change and creating shared values as Uganda's coffee revolution. We have, as far as Ghana, where we have focusing on deforestation and pollution, and influencing traditional cooking fuels in Ghana by focusing on using 100% recycled organic materials. The MBA gave me confidence, and we are excited to share more. Success stories with you guys. And we have from Sierra Leone, and we have from, I think Dr. Mugamu has joined us now. So let me stop sharing. Dr. Mugamu, okay, there he is. Wow, well, great. You're on mute, Dr. Mugamu. Good evening, how are you?
I could be better.
Oh, no, you'll be fine. It's good to see you. We are happy to see you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yes. So
How?
I've already introduced you to our audience, which is joining us from all over Africa and beyond. I've read your esteemed profile introducing you as a business executive, as a boardroom lion or leader, as an academic, and here to share with us your valued and priceless experience with our entrepreneurs who are online. So I'll give you your 15 minutes to speak, and then we'll take questions and answer after that. Over to you, Dr. Mugamu. Thank you so much. We're grateful and we truly understand the network challenges, but we're just glad that you could join us.
Welcome. Maybe I need common courtesy demands that I acknowledge with gratitude the opportunity I've been given to share with you the little I know about what I know. Can you hear me?
Very well. Go ahead.
Okay.
We can hear you very well.
There are four things I often tell people about entrepreneurship. Four things. The first one, if you want free time, stay at your corporate job. Number two, if you want weekends off, stay at your corporate job. Third, if you want to buy a house or go on holiday or play golf on Sunday or Wednesday afternoon or Friday afternoon, you should probably stay at your corporate job. However, if you are an entrepreneur, you start work early and finish late. There is less freedom and more stress when you run your own business for at least the first 5 years or so. Let me share with you what Aliko Dangote said in 2019. He was working on a number of projects, and the one which I want to use here was the fertilizer and oil refinery in Nigeria. He said he didn't have time, social time with people, and anyone who wanted to speak to him or was expecting some kind of discussion socially, he didn't have the time. It is often said the road to entrepreneurial success is always under construction, because some entrepreneurs are failing off the rail while others are seriously considering exploiting perceived opportunities. Yet a few are learning from the mistakes they made or made by others. Many times when you read the autobiographies of prominent entrepreneurs who have made it, and in this group, I include Richard Branson, Warren Buffett, Eric Yuan, the guy who founded Zoom, the platform which we're using, or Strive Masiwa in Zimbabwe, or from Zimbabwe, Aliko Dangote from Nigeria. The journey into entrepreneurship is made to look so effortless, when in fact the right opposite is true. In life, I believe that those wishing to be entrepreneurs can learn from other people's failures than they can reading about their successes. What does a sustainable business model mean? One might ask. It means meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own ends. And there are three pillars of sustainable business models. One, economic viability, meaning the venture must be commercially profitable. Number two, is environmental protection. In other words, it can succeed far into the future. And the third pillar is social equity, using resources that can be utilized for the long term. The founder of Tel Aviv University in Israel said people in that country are willing to fail and reinvest. The lessons from their failures help startups better prepare for success in the future. And I want to share with you statistics about Israel so that you have got an idea about what we're talking about. Despite the country being small, with few natural resources, Israel produces more startup companies and more engineers per capita than anywhere else in the world. Israel ranks first in the world for innovating capacity. It also spends more money on research and development than any other country, allocating about 4.3% of its GDP to R&D. What do African governments do in terms of R&D? Do they help potential entrepreneurs to see what opportunities are there in the environment? Having a family background help, as does some degree of education if you're going to be an entrepreneur. But in my view, the strongest effect is to know someone else who is an astute entrepreneur. What I'm putting on the table is the need for social networking among entrepreneurs. This development helps to ensure that entrepreneurial ecosystem is well connected and also serves as gateway for aspiring entrepreneurs to find contacts, guidance, advice, and funding they need. It does not matter how small or how big the business is. Growing the business beyond the personal vision of the founder requires strong leverage on other expertise. Hence the necessity of constituting a board of advisors in the place of board of directors. The advisory board will be responsible for the oversight of the enterprise, reviewing strategy, finance, and corporate performance. I want to underline the need for an advisory board for an entrepreneur. You may not have the financial resources to attract eminent people to sit on the board, but sometimes it's expensive for small companies. In my own situation, my international work experience, first at Unilever, second as an executive chairman of Kingston, and finally as chairman of CBZ Bank and CBZ Holdings, taught me to be flexible, adaptable, innovative within the framework of ethical behavior without pushing the boundaries too much. Issues that entrepreneurs must watch out for in order to sustain the business model are many, but allow me to focus on just a few. One is the acceptance of that change is inevitable. Many companies have tried to remake themselves into better companies, to improve, into better competitors, to improve their level of corporate performance. These changes have gone through different banners such as re-engineering, right sizing, restructuring, cultural change, and turnarounds. As the business environment becomes increasingly competitive, the pace of change is likely to quicken, not slow down. The common mistake is to underestimate the difficulty of change and to be optimistic about the pace. Change initiatives often meet with a mixed response from employees. Some will be keen to act, recognize the necessity for change. Others, possibly the majority, will be less enthusiastic. The majority maintain the majority of events necessitating change lies outside the company, and it is crucial for strategic entrepreneurs to maintain a very strong focus on external activities. Examples of forces that have beneficial impacts on supporting changes include: 1, analysis of competitors; 2, best of class benchmarking; 3, technological changes; 4, changes in the business model. Managers with strong external orientation. A sustainable company is one whose purpose and actions are equally grounded in financial, environmental, and social concerns. Many companies recognize the need to restructure or change the business model too late when fewer options remain and saving the company may be more difficult. This brings me to the next issue, which is adoption of good corporate governance. Corporate governance is relevant at all times, in bad or good times. It is designed to protect against malpractice, an issue that has destroyed many businesses worldwide, to increase accountability, improve professionalism and economic growth. When a company does not have a solid corporate governance structure in place, it is a signal to the marketplace that the enterprise is not well managed, in that there is no alignment of interest between management and the external shareholders, external stakeholders. Where do you stand? Do you want to paint a picture that the company is not well managed? What about the people who have provided finance, funding to your business? Please allow me to share with you a very recent incident in South Africa, recent as Friday, where a company listed on the stock exchange, Johannesburg Stock Exchange, the company is suing its former co-founder and chief executive officer and executive directors for material and reputational damage over contracts that the company got through bribery. And this has just come out of the Zondo Commission. So the steps that the current management are taking against the executives are, in my view, in the right direction towards the enhancement of accountability. Good corporate governance keeps one out of the bad news and prevents reputational damage, and the law must be allowed to take its course where there's evidence of wrongdoings. This is recent. And then that brings me to the last point which I want to share with, or second last, which is building a strong management team. There is usually a tendency to look at friends and relatives as the support system to a business. But the research has shown that relatives are notoriously known to let down entrepreneurs. The market is full of people who have got the education, the experience, and do not have jobs. So the ability to find and hire the right people can make or break your business. No matter where you are in the life cycle of your business, bringing in great talent should be a top priority. The vision of the future of the organization and style of leadership should be the key attractions of good management team. The right people in the right jobs are instrumental to the company's success. If you are the entrepreneur behind the business, know what you are good at, and importantly, know your weaknesses and get in good people to support you in these areas. There must be willingness to give individuals the tools they need, outline some parameters to work within, and then let them do the work. Good leaders do not try to be the smartest person in the room or in the company. They allow commitment to diversity along with the understanding of how to advance a culture that promotes inclusion and welcomes and encourages dialogue across lines of differences. It is not unusual for business owners to feel stuck at times. The last, maybe the second last, is to give employees or the management team performance-based contracts. And this is the way of improving corporate and managing performance. Hence the need for upfront performance indicators as a control measure against target performance. How are we doing on time?
I can give you 5 more minutes.
No, I don't need 5 more minutes.
Okay, if you have 6, then it's fine. Okay,
No,
then
no,
we
I
can
can
move.
just, yeah.
Yeah.
I need to talk about innovation
Mhm.
because it's an important aspect of building a successful business.
Mhm.
It is important in an organization to show top-down commitment to innovation that makes innovation a business model. A culture of individual freedom, allowing the inventor to pursue something not on his daily worksheet. The use of networking, informal networking is extraordinarily powerful, and these are formal ways to perpetuate that network. I was fortunate to have been awarded a trip to the UK when I was in the corporate world. I went to see the chairman of the company, who was also the managing director and expatriate, with some suggestions on how we could save money. Of course, during that time, the word innovation was rare. I just came up with an idea, and the company felt that this was going to improve the bottom line. So for those of you who are privileged to have set up their own business, it is important that you recognize that some of your employees are gifted in coming up with innovative ways of running the out. Give them the opportunity. I think for the time being, let me end here.
Great. Thank you very much. Wow, I have to give a round of applause. And thank you very much for those priceless nuggets that you've just shared. Thank you very much, Dr. Mugamu. So we're going to move into our question and answer session. And ladies and gentlemen, please feel free to put your questions in the chat room there. Our first question, Doc, is what does intellectual resource mean in a business model other than human, physical, and financial resource? What does intellectual resource mean in a business model other than physical, human, and financial resource?
Well, when you read the literature about entrepreneurship or people who have set up businesses, they didn't have money. They had an idea which is intellectual, which they got support from others to shape it into a final product or into a service. So intellectual, we're talking about, and I must warn people that if you are not careful and you don't pattern that part, you could lose the business because other people will say it is mine. So intellectual, we're looking at what you have built. You may not have taken down the number of hours you have spent in developing this product. And I often say to people, when we are thinking of developing an idea or a concept, record the number of hours you've put down. Because when you bring in funders, they may not appreciate what you have contributed to the business. If I answered the question?
Yeah. You can answer. I think the question was from Peter Ndirangu. Peter, I hope you have been adequately answered by Dr. Mugamu in terms of intellectual resource. And it's something that continuously is on the minds of most entrepreneurs as they are starting off. And the issue of having your idea stolen by someone else. And what would you advise on that, which I feel inhibits you from actually flying off with your idea? But it's possible that ideas are stolen. What tips can you give?
Well, if resources are permitting, it is always nice to touch base with a lawyer in the area of protecting that intellectual property. You might then say, I cannot afford a lawyer. But I said earlier on, the power of networking is good. You may identify friends who know a lawyer who can be supportive to your cause, and hence they will give you concessional rate on their charges. In fact, last week we attended a Rotary meeting, and there was a gentleman who had an idea, and one of the lawyers volunteered to help that person, which was very good. So make friends with a number of stakeholders who can be supportive. And in this case, I'm reminded of what happened to Eric Yuan, the Chinese founder of Zoom. The friends, the family members, and associates, they believed in his thought process and decided to help him all the way. And he came up with a product which was far much better than this kind. So if you're an entrepreneur, it is important that you take time to create value through the product or the service you are providing. That's why people come back.
All right, our next question, Doc, is I'm Alucine from Sierra Leone, an E4Impact student at the University of Makeni. What's the best positioning strategy for a small business? What's the best positioning strategy for a small business?
Well, first and foremost, you need to know the market, in my view, and then the location. Because if you don't know the market and the location, you might position the business in a highly competitive environment where you may not have the strength, the financial resources to compete with the big guys. In this case, let me share with you when I went to India on attachment, when I worked for Unilever, there was an Indian man who was operating, you might say, backend operation. And he was selling soap, laundry soap. If a person wanted a small one, a piece, you could do it. Unilever, they said, no. We must have a tablet or we must have a bar. So this person identified the needs of his customers, people who could not afford bars, who could not afford a tablet. So answering this man's question is, it is important to know the market you are serving so that you pitch the business in the right framework. Otherwise, you can be killed by the big competitors.
Mm-hmm. And what if you're already getting into a market that you know has big competitors? I'm always thinking of what's happening here with many companies getting into fast foods, and yet we already have your giants already there. I mean, what strategies can you take, for example, where the giants are already there, but that's where your passion is. We encourage entrepreneurs to follow their passion and follow their dreams, and you're getting into a dream where there are big sharks. I mean, is it strategic to partner with them? Is it strategic to collaborate with them?
You might find that they are not keen to collaborate with you. They might look down upon you. In Zimbabwe, you may want to look at Chicken Spice. When he started, they didn't take him seriously. In fact, he started outside Harare, in Mvuma, to be very specific. And when he tested the product, he was satisfied with the outcome, then moved on to the major city. So collaboration is good, but the chances are that people will not want. They might want to buy you out so that they kill the competition. So, but you then say to yourself, can you compete firmly in this market segment? If you have got the resources, then take it. I was a victim. For 15 years, I operated a good business, hardware, in an affluent area. And problem came when a listed company decided to open their flagship shop 3 shops away from me. So I then decided to specialize in plumbing materials. They were selling their products, plumbing, at half the price which I had, and these were being done just to kick me out. So it may not be, is collaboration? No, because you are small. But find a niche market for yourself, or find an area where they may not be interested.
Okay, thank you. My next question to you is, you talked about performance management and setting up contracts. I mean, which is something maybe a startup or an entrepreneur might overlook because of the burden of carrying many roles. What practical ways? I mean, we talk about it. We talk about performance, but what practical steps can you encourage an entrepreneur to put in place as they build their business model to ensure performance?
In all African countries, the unemployment levels are very high. You have a large number of graduates coming from universities with a first degree or second degree without jobs. So that would be the first target. When I say contracts, performance contracts, if you decide that you need a person to help you for 3 months, come up with a performance contract where it states out the deliverables, your expectations, and so forth. I often say to colleagues, there is an opportunity to get students or internship, where you pay basic, the transport and a bit of an allowance so that the person can survive. I went through that route when I set up my own business because I couldn't afford it. So I identified people who had the scope and enthusiasm to work, who were not employed elsewhere. And then I set out what I wanted them to do. In fact, initially I asked them, can you draft what you think you can add value in my business? And that gave me an opportunity to improve on what the expectations were.
Mm, mm, mm.
And
Yeah.
you might not want to get people who have got experience because they've got the wrong experience.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Yes. There was a debate about starting a business, and very serious debate about starting a business. That most people seem to want to partner with a person in finance and or an accountant, and some people were saying you should actually partner with a person with marketing skills or business development skills. What's your take on that one?
You know, there are resources which you can outsource. You can get them from the market. Because accounting, yes, the person will work on the figures, but that is an area where you can get people to help you, particularly when you've been funded by, let's say, venture capitalists or by angel investors. Marketing or sales would be the right person, in my view, because you want the product and service to the market, not the finance.
Right, yes, true. Yes, because you are still building and you still need skills that build the products, build the systems and the processes around it. So you need, right, that makes a lot of sense. So I think I'll touch again on your another question on your on the issue that you mentioned on family. We have debates that the biggest corporates which started probably listed companies that which have a strong entrepreneurial strong entrepreneurial initiatives are actually family owned. Your Johnson and Johnson and many others. What is your take on that? That is the question. What is your take on family owned businesses? Should we really not go that route? Or if we have to go that route, what's the best way to build a sustainable business model when you have to involve family?
The culture is different between, shall I say, black people and the white community. The culture is different. And in Zimbabwe, there are cases where people have taken family members on board, whether cousins or first cousins, whatever, brothers. The results have not been very good, but it's something which can be nurtured as people realize the importance of growing a family business. I am first generation in business, and I'd hope that my son would have an interest in what we do, because that is the business that sent him to university. But he then said no. It was outside his areas of interest. So he decided to go in his own ways, but it's in business. So family, a lot depends on whether people share the value of the kind of business we're doing. I remember my late mother, when I told her that I was setting this kind of business, she didn't see value in it. She only appreciated when I sent the driver to go and pick her up. Then he says, "Oh, you work for him?" They said, "Yes." So family is an opportunity, but you look at the big names in either in Harare, Zimbabwe, or the Masiwas or Dangote and so forth, you don't hear people from their own tribe being around them. No. In fact, Dangote people who are very close to my Indians. So we don't have that culture. But the Asians is very strong.
Hmm. Hmm. All right. A follow-up question to that was, I think you've covered most of it. The follow-up question was on corporate governance being considered weak when it's a husband and wife business, and how you can avoid that, because but most ideas, most of the entrepreneurs, for example, that we work with at E4Impact Foundation, we do have a husband and wife initiative. What is it that they can do to make sure that their story doesn't sound weak because they're husband and wife and the corporate governance issues might not be addressed?
If you don't set the parameters, the responsibilities for each person, you're bound to have problems as husband and wife. In my case, I've come to accept that I cannot do all the jobs all the time. So I often say, which of these do you want to do? Then I take the balance. Yes. So, and the whole idea is not to have a confrontation in the presence of employees, because they will exploit the division. But people must accept that the families is because one of the spouses must work in the business, and it's part of the succession planning anyway. If one is run over by a bus, so who's going to run the business?
Yes.
So I support family involvement. In fact, the succession plan should just start from day one.
From day one.
Because nobody knows when the Almighty God will call you.
Great. Our time is run out, but we just have one more question. Please, can you talked about social equity. Can you just go over that again? And that will be our last question for today. Social equity, you mentioned that it's one of the key areas that you need to build and contribute to building a sustainable business. Okay. Social equity.
I think, in all fairness, you may not come across any business person who will say, I've got enough money. They're always complaining that because the demands, their demands are always higher than their revenues. So nowadays, the business must take a view on looking at other stakeholders. In the past, you would then say the stakeholders are the employees and the customers. But there are other stakeholders who may not be customers, but they have any interest in the manner in which that business is being run. So what we are saying is, look outside the narrow definition of stakeholders. I know I've run out of time, but I'll share with you what happened. When I came back from overseas, I wanted to come up with a juror at my family's homestead, because people, I thought they were interfering. But my mom and my father were kept quiet because they worried that I might go back. So they didn't talk about, they did not tell me that they disliked the juror. The headman came to talk to me and said, why are you putting people in a box? And I said to him, who are you to tell me about these things? He says, no, we live with your parents here. How many times you see them? So stop it. And I stopped it. So in business, it is important to realize and to recognize that the business is part of the community. And whenever there's an opportunity, give a hand. And that brings in brand equity and improves revenue streams. Because if you have got a good name that you are helping the community or social interaction, surely the brand will go, will improve, so will be the revenue streams. It is always a good thing to have a good name than to have a bad name. I know there are some people who do not accept or have difficulties in appreciating the need to help community, particularly when they're not your relatives. But nowadays, you have got to do it.
Great. And I think on that great note, where you've actually shared key nuggets that we supported E4Impact as we aim to train and build entrepreneurs that impact their communities and that actually contribute to building strong communities where we feel we create jobs and reduce economic hardships. We want to thank you, Dr. Mugamu, this evening for coming through and speaking to us and sharing great nuggets. I mean, I walked away with many nuggets, and many entrepreneurs fear starting a business and have an idea and sit on it for years. But I think you've shared many stories and many pieces of advice that can help. I think what stood out for me is learn from your failure and reinvest. And this will actually help you build a stronger, sustainable startup. So that is what I walk away with, and encourage all the entrepreneurs here not to fear. Dr. Mugamu is part of the family. If you want to speak to him, we can give you his contact details. If you want advice, if you want consultancy services from him, we will give you his contacts. If you want more information on him assisting with your business, he is part of the E4Impact family. He's the many experts that we speak of, that we work with. He is one of our lecturers and academics who are contributing to building the MBA program here in Zimbabwe. We thank you so much for joining us this evening from wherever you are. I say good evening to you, good afternoon, good morning to you, and thank you for joining us. We will see you next week on the second cycle, where what we've learned today from Dr. Mugamu, that is going to build into, thank you, Alicine, who said great insights from Dr. Mugamu. And we are going to talk about what are investors looking for. So we've got the nuggets here to build the business model. Next week, let's talk to more experts on what investors are looking for in that business model that we've discussed today. Good night. Please stay safe and take care.